This is 8 font. Sorry. Hit the time pedal if I go over. A lot to say, Coach Bendorf. First, I'd like to thank Dan, Ed. Wonderful job tonight. Appreciate it. And Coach Bendorf, I'm sure you're taking a few moments just to see and feel the gravity of what's occurring tonight and what you've accomplished over your career. You know, this is pretty incredible. You know, and there's a lot to say. Don't have a lot of time to say it, but I'll tell a quick story here. And I don't know if you know this, but your last year as defensive coordinator at Robinson was my senior year. And going in or after the season, I had to call a meeting with the new or then principal Ann Monday. We had a little roundtable discussion. If you guys can picture this, I'm an 18-year-old punk, and I'm sitting around the table with her and with all of her staff, and I said, "Listen, I know you're a new principal." I think she had been there a couple years at the time. I said, "This will be the worst decision of your soon-to-be short career as principal if you don't hire Mark Bendorf." Yeah, she took all the credit for the hire. But I am honored to be able to talk with everyone tonight. I'm gonna briefly try and say how Coach Bendorf helped develop me as an athlete and as a leader. First, my father's an F-16 pilot in the Air Force. We traveled everywhere. We spent 4 seasons down in Valdosta, Georgia. And for those of you who don't know what that town is, at the time it was the winningest high school football program in the country. So I was around tradition, and I had very high expectations coming in as a freshman to Robinson. And one of the first things that I noticed was Coach Bendorf and his shorts and his bad temper and his look. He's looking, and I'm just some freshman, about 6 foot, buck nothing, thinking I'm going to take over the world and start on varsity, especially for the defense. And I was really wrong. Guys like Dave Van Dyke, Schlimgen, Bowler, Lewick, Roman, guys that were hanging on your every word, listening to everything you said to them and the way you directed them and the organization and the skills that you required from the guys and also taught the guys, whether it was watching film, learning playbooks for the opponents, or studying blitz packages, offensive personnel for our opponents. You had us so prepared athletically as well as mentally for every game. And it just really impressed me. And I think a gentleman that's here tonight, Coach Foster, that I also had an opportunity to play with at Virginia Tech, when Robinson athletes went to Virginia Tech, and I think Coach Foster will agree with this, 95% of them were Glock-cocked and ready to rock when they got off the bus. And it's because of you. And that's a direct compliment to you and to your staff. And I appreciate that. I know Virginia Tech appreciated that as well. So, yeah. Yeah. The next, moving on, as a leader, I think leaders are only as good as those that they surround themselves with, and that's whether it's in business or whether it's in athletics or just personal life. And this is kind of a plug for your staff as well, and you as a leader. You surround yourself with the right people. One person in particular that I had the opportunity to play underneath on JV and then as well in varsity was Coach Barry Gorodnick, and I think you couldn't have picked a better staff starting with Coach G, and I hope he's still in the room here, but I think, and again, I'll refer to Coach Foster at Virginia Tech as an analogy. Coach G and Coach Foster mean as much to their programs and to the tradition of Virginia Tech or to Robinson and to the success of Coach Bendorf and they may never get the credit that they deserve, but as a leader, I thought that was impressive that you could put together a staff the way you do. And of course, the next generation of coaches, Coach Francis and a couple of the other guys that I didn't get to play with, but that was always impressive to me as well, and I learned from that going forward at Virginia Tech, or whether it was in business with just anything that I had to do from then on. I learned from you in that way. And now in closing, I'm going to tell one more story, and then I'll wrap this thing up. I was a senior going into my senior year, and I'd finally worked myself, to the table, and I was captain of the team, 6'1", 200. I thought I was a man, working around in the weight room, finished the squat set, and Coach Bendorf pulled me over. He's like, Krebs, why don't you put another plate on that? I was like, I looked at it, I was like, oh man, come on, Rip. And he's like, he stopped me and said, no, my name's not Man, it's Coach Bendorf. So he put me in my place, which I needed, and we moved forward as a coaching student relationship. So now, just to wrap up here, as athletes and as coaches, I think that we're used to the limelight, so to speak, walking out in front of crowds, getting positive, sometimes negative attention. But in our biggest fear, at least for me, is to be forgotten. And I think that that's something that as a coach and as an athlete, being forgotten, that our legacy hasn't been implemented the way we wanted it when we were playing, or when we were coaching, or doing whatever we were doing. But I think that everyone in this room will agree with what you told me so many years ago in the weight room, is that your name is Coach Mark Bendorf of the Robinson Rams, and your legacy will never be forgotten, my man. Okay? Thank you.
What is it with good players and tough names? Mount Vernon High School, fair to say, John Rimashevsky was, Sean was great, but he was kind of the face. He was this tall. He could bench press 405 pounds in high school. And he went on to play at Duke. And now, it's like I'm at a game. I've got to memorize names like Markogiannakis. There's just these, that doesn't roll off the tongue. But I know Alex is a very important part of the Robinson history, captain of the 1997 Virginia State champion Robinson Ram high school football team, Alex Markogiannakis.
Good evening, everyone. Please forgive me. I'm not a public speaker, and I'm a little nervous right now. And I'm following all these great speakers here, and I'm just thinking to myself, everybody's touched on everything that I was going to say. And I know we're running low on time here, so I want to kind of make this short and sweet, put a little bit of a different twist on it. I wanted to thank Dan for contacting me and asking me to speak. It's a real honor to be a part of this program tonight, and I just want to say thank you. It's very neat for me to come into the environment tonight and see people come up on stage that I was shown videos of when I was coming up through high school from Coach Bendorf. I think the way that he kept the entire family, I'm going to call it, over the last 30 years of players together, and the videos that he kept and the pictures that he kept of, Mr. Scott. I've seen video clips of you when I was coming up through high school. Ed Cunningham, I saw pictures of you. Sorry. It's all about respect. So, I just think that's very, very neat to see Mike Hertz, who when I was a kid growing up, I used to go to Robinson Ram football games, and he was a stud. I used to watch his videos all the time coming up. That's how I wanted to play linebacker, and I was going to do my best to try and get there. And I tried, and I was fortunate enough to have him coach with us my senior year. My senior year was Coach Bendorf's first year as a head coach at Robinson. And I was fortunate enough to play under a great high school football coach for 3 years, and Coach Hilgert. And we were pretty good. We lost in the regional final to Chantilly, 28-0 the year before. And I remember Coach Bendorf took over, and, it was just, he's just so intense, like everybody said. He grips you, and he's got your attention immediately. And, I just remember when I wanted to impress him. I was appointed to captain of the team. I was voted by the teammates. And I wanted to impress Coach Bendorf, and I just wanted to soak everything in and listen to everything he had to say. And I was much, much better my senior year than I was my first 3 years. A lot of that has to do with Coach G and the entire coaching staff, and Coach Bendorf just leading the entire charge. I wanted to touch on 3 things tonight that I never realized how much it would affect my life, especially from a business standpoint. It's my little twist here. I know everybody has a personal story where, in their personal lives that Coach Bendorf's touched on. But the 3 things that I learned that were just embedded in me like a chip, and I didn't even realize it until, really it hit me when Dan contacted me and asked me to speak. Handling adversity is the first one. I know that, everybody's talked about handling adversity. And, the biggest thing for me was how you handle adversity. Coach Bendorf taught us how to handle adversity. In football, when you play good teams and against the competition that we played against, they have athletes, they're going to score. How are you going to handle it? Are you going to throw your helmet down, run back, and get all discombobulated? Or are you going to strap up, get out there, and play the rest of the game? And I think him teaching me how to handle adversity really, leaked into my professional career and work. In 2008, a good friend of mine, Krebs, approached me. We were working for a company, pretty successful company. We were, in sales, and he said, there was some stuff going on with the company, and he said, man, I'm thinking about kind of going off on our own. What do you think? And I was like, man, it's 2008. The economy is really, really bad. You're crazy. But, there was a lot of stuff going on with the job that we were at. We decided to jump ship. Everybody thought we were nuts. We were in business in my living room, and we started out there, and we were dealing with all kinds of adversity. In construction, nonetheless, everyone, in 2008 when the economy was where it was. And we've since made it. We handle adversity every day in the construction field, whether it's a water valve that won't shut off, an unhappy client. Every single day we deal with adversity. And you can't flip out. You have to handle the situation. You have to be calm for your employees and your clients. Chopping the wood is the other item that I wanted to touch on, or whatever you want to call it. Keep fighting, keep playing. In business, I don't tell my employees to continue to chop the wood in the office every day. I think that'd be a little weird, but, keep fighting, in sales especially. If somebody doesn't return your call, keep calling them, or go on to the next one. If you lose a bid something else out. Continue to fight. We got to continue to grow, and I think that that's very important, and again, every day we use that. Never think you're too good. That's one of the most important ones. Once you think you're too good, we're always told that's when you're going to get your butt kicked. Once you think you're too good, somebody's going to sneak up on you and get you. And my senior year, we went undefeated. 2001, we were 14-0, not 13-1. But